Hey everyone, Kelly here, and today I want to talk about the books that I've bought in the second half of the year. I think my last book haul was sometime around summer, so I guess it's not like the last half, it's more like fall into winter. And yeah, I've had a really big buying year. I counted it all up, how much I bought this year, and I ended up buying or getting from Little Free Libraries or gifts. Books that have come into my life have been 99 books. And so that is more than I want to be doing in a year. And so I'm going to make some like regulations for myself for next year. I'm thinking through what those are. I think it's going to be kind of like focusing on just sequels of things that I'm reading, or like books that I get from a local bookstore. Like if I go to the bookstore and it's more like an event, like I'm going to the bookstore to experience the bookstore and purchasing a book, that's okay. But I'm going to really try to do less book buying next year, because even though I'm really excited about a lot of these books, you know, it's going to take me all of 2026 probably to read them. So I need to like buy less so I can read these in 2026. Also, I'll have my book of the month. So those will kind of be like what I'll focus on: local bookstores, book of the month, sequels. But let's talk about what I bought this year. I did buy some sequels. This is actually like the start of a different series, but this is Air by Sabaa Tahir. I had read all of the books in the Ember of the Ashes series in 2025 and wanted to continue, but then I didn't end up reading this one yet because I realized the second book in this is not quite announced yet. So I decided I'm going to hold off on reading this for a little bit, just since it's a new series. I don't like forget it all before I get there. And then another series, I got Painted Devils by Margaret Owen. This is the sequel to Little Thieves. Really love Little Thieves, and I bought this like immediately after reading that, but they are pretty big, and the first one had a full arc, so I just haven't been like needing to pick this up yet, but I do want to. I enjoyed it. The first one was a Goose Girl retelling, and I really liked it. I have like a series I bought. I bought The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, I think at the beginning of summer, or I'm sorry, at the end of summer, right after my last book haul. Read it right away. Found it was fun, so I went out and bought books 2 and 3, Hawthorne Legacy and The Final Gambit, and I just didn't pick them up right away. Once again, it kind of, I mean, not that this was like a full arc, but I didn't feel like I needed to start the next one immediately, but I do plan on reading these in 2026. Then I have a couple books that I got as part of events. So my local bookstore does this thing called speed booking. So kind of like speed dating, where you have like books laid out at this table, like we're all sitting around this table. We each have a book in front of us, and we get like 2 minutes to look over the book, and then, you know, they ring the bell, and then you move to the next book, and you get to like spend an hour looking at you know, like each of these books for a couple minutes, and then you take a book home. And so I've gone to 2 of those events, and the first one I got this book, The Stroke of Winter by Wendy Webb. This is a gothic kind of book, and this is by a more local author. She's from Minnesota, so I thought that would be a good one to have. And then I have The Mighty Red by Louise Erdrich. I have never read anything by this author, and I really need to remedy that. When I read the first chapter in the speed booking, I really liked the writing. I've heard that she writes books that are like kind of devastating, but at the same time beautiful, and have a lot of like human interactions and just lovely books. So I'm excited to be reading both of these hopefully in the next year. And then I had a couple that I picked up from Little Free Libraries. The Covenant of Water. I don't know when I'm going to get around to this because it's huge, but I've heard good things about it. It's one of those that I hear around a lot. And so I was like, well, it's free. I'll put it on my shelf and see if I just have a day where I'm inspired to pick up a really giant book. And then I picked up Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. A friend of mine had said she enjoyed some romances by this author, and since it was in the Little Free Library, I just picked it up, and if I get inspired for a romance, maybe that'll be the one I pick up. Next category is just some fantasy that I've been wanting. You know, I'm a huge T. Kingfisher fan, and I just buy like everything by T. Kingfisher. This was her newest release that came out in December, Snake Eater, and I definitely plan on reading this in 2026. I think I'm actually going to read it in January because it's on the shorter side. And I have plans to read a lot shorter things. January TBR to be coming soon. And look at this cover. Isn't this amazing? Yeah. So I'm excited for that one. And then Summer and Orcus I got. This was one that she had published a while ago. And I actually have an ebook of this, but this cover is really cute. So I just wanted to pick it up. Oh, and it has like drawings in it as well. So I'm glad I have the print version because it has some pictures too. So I picked those up. I got Truth Witch by Susan Dennard because I heard that the last book in the series is being published this year, or in 2026, I believe. Or did it just come out? I don't know, but I heard that it is finally like reaching its end, and I've heard really good things about it. So I thought, you know, since this is kind of a longer series and it's coming to the end, I think it was time to like pick up the first book and give it a try and see if this is a series for me. And then I have Bring Me Your Midnight by Rachel Griffin, which is a witch book. And I had read her books, The Nature of Witches and Wild is the Witch, liked them both. So I just wanted to pick up this one. It's a standalone. And sometimes you just need a standalone fantasy because there's so many things that have a lot of sequels. My next category is my Book of the Month books. And I started Book of the Month in May. So I had, and some months I got a couple. So I have quite a few. And of the ones I have here from the second half of the year, I have read almost half of them. So that's good. And have plans to read other ones. So let's start with the ones I have read. I got This Spells Love by Kate Robb. This is one of the ones that was like backlist. So it wasn't like a brand new one. It was from 2023. And I have already read this. It's a romance that kind of deals with alternate universes, kind of like going back, not go back in time, but in an alternate reality. I have Play Nice by Rachel Harrison, which was in the September book box, just in time for like Halloween-y haunted house time. And then Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber I read. This is a fantasy beginning of a new series that kind of has the old Hollywood vibes. And then one I'm in the middle of, so I'm like halfway through it, is Never Over by Claire Gilmore. And this is a romance, like a second chance romance about a singer and her ex-boyfriend she needs him as her muse to start writing music again. So that's what I'm in the middle of. And then the rest of these are ones I've gotten the last couple months and haven't gotten to yet. I have another romance, The Heartbreak Hotel by Ellen O'Clover. And I can't remember if she's left at the altar or just gets broken up with, but then she ends up doing this like Airbnb for people that have broken hearts. Her One Regret by Donna Freitas. And this one, right after I got this, the like rating on it just like plummeted on Goodreads. So I'm still interested in it, but I haven't been rushing to pick it up because it just keeps going down. But I think it's going to be one of those that a lot of people don't like, but that maybe I'll like. And it's a lot about motherhood and regret in, you know, like kind of postpartum, and also like just, you know, some of the negative sides of motherhood and how to express those negative feelings. And then I have Cursed Daughters by Oyinkan Braithwaite. I had read My Sister's a Serial Killer by this author and loved it. And I've been looking for years for when she comes out with a new book. And it happened this year. And so I really do want to get to this. I've just not been in the mood for, this feels like more literary fiction, several sisters and their lives. And so this feels like it's going to be maybe multi-generational, really deep into the family drama. And I just haven't been in the mood for that in the last couple months, but I am excited to get to this at some point soon. And then The Possession of Alba Diaz by Isabella Cañas. I really like The Hacienda, so I'm excited to read another one of her gothic, you know, horror, light horror. I feel like she's a little lighter on the horror, but like my style of horror with a little romance and drama, all that gothic kind of feeling. And the last one from Book of the Month I have is The Inheritance of Accordia Divina by Zoraida Cordova. And this is just one that was like a backlist. This is from 2021, but I've just been meaning to read this for a while. And then I heard somebody reviewing it lately, and I don't remember who it was, but they had brought it back to my attention. And then when I saw it as an add-on for Book of the Month, I was like, yeah, I've been wanting to read that book, so I'm going to pick it up. And then I just have some random that don't really have a category. I picked this up from a local bookstore. It's a local author, The 29th Day by Alex Messenger. It's a nonfiction about this author. When he was 17, he went on this like long hike in Canada. It was supposed to be several, I don't know if it was supposed to end up being like 40 days or something like that, with some friends. And then on the 29th day, he gets attacked by a bear, and kind of his survival story after that, and getting back to civilization and everything that happened on this trip. So like I said, it's a local author, and I want it, and I got it from a local bookstore. wanted to try it out. Another book I got from a local bookstore is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. This is a backlist book and it's been translated from French, but I have been hearing about it for years. Like, it just keeps popping back up. And so it's one of those backlists that I think is just still relevant and still kind of in the zeitgeist. And so I want to pick it up. It's kind of short. And I think it's like a dystopian about these women that have been imprisoned for years. And I think we're following the youngest one that has really no memory of what happened before. And so I would like to give that a try. And then a brand new book that I got is We Will Rise Again, edited by Karen Lord, Annalee Newitz, and Malka Older. And this is a collection of short stories, essays, all kinds of things put together. And it just came out a few weeks ago, and I was really excited to read it because some of the authors are ones that I'm really interested in. And I've heard Angela from Literary Science Alliance started to review this one. I read it, is reading it currently. I'm really enjoying it. I had already had it on my radar, but then when she started talking about it, I was like, oh, go and buy it immediately. And then I have a few that fit in this category that are still in the mail, but they'll get here before the end of the year. I just don't want to wait to film this because I have a moment. So I'm just gonna put pictures up. They are coming. I got The Mysterious Case of the Alberton Angels by Janice Hallett. I've wanted to read something by this author for a long time, so now I'm finally getting around to it. And then I got The Lost Wonders. There's a longer subtitle, but I can't remember what it was. And this is a nonfiction about, I think it was about 10 different animals that have gone extinct and kind of their story of extinction. And I just thought that that would be an interesting yet sad read, and the cover kind of drew me in. And then I have Sisters of Sword and Songs, and now I'm trying to remember what the author's name is. I'm like, I know it's somebody that, Rebecca Ross, that's right. And this one, I think it's kind of a retelling of some folklore, but then it's a fantasy novel that revolves around sisters. And then the last one in this category is To Shape a Dragon's Breath. And I've just been hearing a lot about this, and the second book is coming out at the beginning of 2026. So I wanted to pick it up. It's a fantasy that has dragons. And the last category is books that I was inspired by people doing their Goodreads Choice Award videos and ones that they were enjoying that made me want to pick them up. A couple are also still in the mail coming to me. They might actually be coming today or tomorrow. I have The River Has Roots. I think it's Ahmed Al-Motar, is that the author? And this is a short book. I've heard that a lot of people, there are pictures in this book, that maybe it's good to read the book at the same time as listening to it because it has a little music in the audiobook. So I'm looking forward to reading this. I have plans to read it in January. And then I have The Everlasting. And this one it just sounds really interesting. It's kind of a Lady Knight story, but a person going back in time to make sure this Lady Knight's effect on history continues. And then I have Jane Austen's Bookshelf. I heard Kayla from Books and Lala talking about this and praising it, and I think it was her favorite book of that video. And I was like, oh, I would really like to pick that up and see what it's like. And then Immaculate Conception by Ling Ling Wang. And this is one that I had never planned on reading this one. I didn't really find the other book that she put out compelling or anything, but then when I heard people talking about this in their Goodreads Choice Award video, it just sounded really interesting, and the focus on AI and all that. And yeah, so I am excited to pick those up. And so those are the books that I have bought in the last several months. Like I said, I have a plan to read a lot of these in 2026. I'll be putting out my goal videos probably closer to January, and it'll probably have a lot of these as goals of what in my 26 books to read in 2026. A lot of these will be on there. And that's it for me today. Let me know if you've read any of these that you think they should go to the top of my list, and I'll see you next time. Bye.